I wanted to follow up on the conversation around transcending hexes, curses, and spells. And so far, we've done two subliminals to support us with this journey. And in these subliminals, we've gotten a chance to tune in with our third eye and with the indigo ray to support us with seeing past illusion, seeing past the veils of illusion as it relates to curses, hexes, and spells. And we have also gotten a chance to do an etheric cleanse through one of these subliminals. And this one, you kind of feel the impacted areas in your body and energetic field more somatically. So you might actually feel certain parts of your body activate with the etheric cleanse subliminal as it relates to revoking hexes, curses, and spells. And if you haven't done those yet, definitely take some time to do those. But I also wanted to give us a little bit more theory around what I've been learning about curses, hexes, and spells. And I'm going to do a mixture. I'm going to be reading notes that I've taken, just perusing the Aligning with Earth website. I'm going to be sharing a little bit of my own personal journey. And this will support you with kind of activating your own certain knowing that you have as it relates to this topic. As I've mentioned before, in some of like the live conversations I've done, if you're a genetic path cutter, this person who is here to pave the way for DNA activation for your bloodline. If you are a genetic path cutter, curses, hexes, and spells is just something that you're going to have to go toe to toe with. It's something that you have already known pretty intimately. And we definitely want to tap into that Neptunian frequency to do that right now. And, I was feeling Neptune just really, really somatically in my body. Neptune and I have always had a very interesting relationship, but I was feeling this kind of sense of urgency with Neptune a few days ago, and I wasn't quite sure why. And I don't really subscribe to traditional astrology anymore. I used to have like astrology apps that I would follow, but I found that kind of kept me in certain mechanical loops following astrology too much. So I took out like a lot of my astrology apps. I still look at astrology, but I do it from just like a different approach. But I was being called just to see, okay, what's going on with Neptune, because I'm feeling it hard. And I found out that Neptune is at its 29th degree of Pisces before it moves into Aries. And, Neptune is at home in Pisces. And when it's in the 29th degree, it's kind of like, okay, they call it like a critical point or a crisis degree in astrology, because it's kind of like your last chance, it's kind of like the final before we end the class and we go on to a new class, and Neptune in Aries, it's going to be our new class. And that's going to be a very different energy. You're going to have fire and water going together. Right now, it's all water, Neptune and Pisces. So Pisces has a lot to do with karma. And it has a lot to do with the collective unconscious. And so this is a really great opportunity for us as genetic path cutters to get to the root of some really heavy stuck energies, and to really look them face to face, see where they originate from, and make some transformative impact. So this is a very exciting time. As I mentioned in a post I wrote earlier about, transcending hexes, curses, and spells, see these as programs that you need to wipe from your hard drive. So taking out all the emotion as it relates to them. Sometimes, if we feel like there's a curse or a hex or a spell that we are dealing with in our reality, it can feel hurtful sometimes. You can feel like, the world is against you or a person is against you and that sort of thing. But one thing I've really learned about this is that this is very mechanical. This is very not really rooted in emotion. It's rooted in like electrical programming. And it's just a lot of times it's our default settings. If we don't see behind the surface, if we don't get really Neptunian about it and like take that deep dive underneath the water, then it'll just be something that we run from our collective unconscious. So it's really important to just note that people might be throwing curses, hexes, and spells in your field, but they're not conscious of it. You know, there are some people who do it consciously. I understand that. But a lot of people just do it on the unconscious, you know, and it's because they're carrying over certain karmic records and you're carrying over certain karmic records. And, the planets have a lot to do with carrying out these things too, which I have discovered as well. So there might be certain planetary influences that are cursed or that have hexes or spells as it relates to that. So you really want to see if there's a particular planet that you've been having issues with. It could be because there's a curse or hex or spell there. So just keep that in mind. And I have unofficially launched my genetic path cutting tier. I'm going to be sharing more information about it in the weeks to come. But in this, I do start, it's like a tier on Patreon where we go more into the divination system to kind of support, or the one that I've been utilizing that's been really supporting me get to the root of some issues that have been kind of like been nebulous, have been difficult for me to pinpoint. You can get to like a very surface level when you look at things through the tarot or when you look at things through like traditional oracle decks, but you don't get to the heart of the thing. And, just kind of with my studies on this aligning with Earth journey and also just some of my own gnosis, I've created a divination system to support with getting really clear on some answers about things that I'm here to transcend in my genetic lineage. And so the genetic path cutter tier is going to support folks with basically, doing all the stuff related to the meditations, the affirmations and all that. But it's also going to help with like if you have very specific questions related to things happening in your ancestry. It's over 200 cards basically that you would create. And I would give you the template. If you wanted to do the genetic path cutting tier, I'd give you the template of the 200 cards that you would create. And you could start asking yourself your own questions related to, some issues that you're having. And on top of that, I would provide you with a once a month pre-recorded ascension reading based upon that same divination system, just to kind of support you with like giving you some insight on how I interpret the cards. And but basically it's to support you with doing it on your own. But it's a guideline to help you with this divination system, and it helps you to get at the root of what's happening on a physical level, because curses, hexes, and spells, they do occur in very physical parts of our bodies. As you start getting to the root of these things, you're going to start noticing certain parts of your body start acting up a little bit more, or you're just going to feel more pressure in certain parts. And that's why we also did a lot of work around the etheric disease, sending back any karma related to disease and poison, because sometimes, these curses, hexes, and spells can trigger certain health crises. And, just personally, something I have found is there's certain scripts that I've had to already transcend related to my health. It hasn't shown up in the physical, but I've been able to, through meditation, see it come down, it as being a possibility of coming down the pipeline. And that's just because there's certain disease programs and certain spells that were running in my DNA that I have to take note of and transmute. And this is definitely something that you're going to want to do. So That's why, it's really good to do the health affirmations, do the health decrees, releasing those disease programs as you start going into these curses, hexes, and spells and getting to the root of them. Because it's my understanding is that sometimes when you really do try to nip these generational curses in the bud, these curses will start activating, and it'll kind of like try to start causing havoc to your life if you don't take certain precautions. So definitely make sure you're doing the health decrees, the disease, and giving back any disease karma, healing karma related to disease and poison in your lineage, so you can transcend out of those patterns. Okay. So yeah, I know it's a lot, but we're this is a mixture of us being scientists, magicians, and artists on this ascension path. We get the honor of being able to transmute some really heavy stuck cycles and patterning in our DNA. And it's an exciting time, but it can also feel overwhelming, especially as we take that deep dive. So I want